So it's my huge pleasure to hand over the night to Robert Rae as chair and to introduce our gentle legend that is Tommy Sands. Robert has a long track record in social engaged and activist theatre and film in Scotland, London and internationally. He is currently director of Art 27 Scotland, focusing on arts and human rights. Robert and Tommy recently worked together in Northern Ireland, so it's really lovely to have you both together again, even if it's in a virtual room. So over to you, Robert, for this evening's event.
Hi, thank you, Helen. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tommy.
Hey,
Um,
Robert.
how you doing? we we
Good.
we I was going to start the night just to put Tommy in a bit of context by playing a clip from the Madison Square Garden concert, which was staged for the 90th birthday of the great Pete Seeger, and where Tommy joined the likes of Bruce Springsteen, Joan Baez, and Arlo Guthrie on stage for that event. Now, I've just very recently been handed the mechanical job here, so I'm hoping this is going to go well. And Grant, I'm sure he's standing by to help if I don't. So I'm going to press my share screen now, and then I'm going to go to the film. And okay, let's just play this, and then I'll introduce Tommy.
Long live Pete Seeger. And long live Toshi. I wonder, do you remember this song? Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes, little ticky-tacky little boxes, little boxes, little boxes, all the same. And there's a green one,
And a pink one,
and a blue one,
and a yellow one, and they're all
made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same.
and the people
In the houses all go to the university, and they all were good in boxes, and they all came out the same. And there's doctors,
and there's lawyers,
and there's business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry.
and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school.
And the children go to summer camp,
And then to the university, where they're all get put in boxes,
and they all come out the same.
and the boys go into business and
Marry and raise a family, and boxes, little boxes, all the same. And there's a green one,
and a pink one,
and a red one, and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And they're all made out of ticky-tacky. All right, Pete. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that, Tommy. That's extraordinary. So it's my great privilege, everybody, to introduce Tommy Sands and ask him to play a few tunes for us, which he's very kindly agreed to, although he's got an excruciatingly sore back. So thank you very much, Tommy, for bearing with us. Tommy was born in County Down into a large family of musicians. His home, nestled into the foothills of the Mourne Mountains, was was described as a ceilidh house, the place where neighbours, both Protestant and Catholic, gathered to share a few tunes and enjoy the crack. Like all great artists, Tommy dropped out of college, and legend has it that as he set out on his long walk home to break the news, a car pulled up alongside him. The window rolled down, and his brother Callum informed him that his guitar was in the back and they had a concert to play. So began his life as a working musician as part of the Sands family. So, Tommy, I think you've got a song for us from home to start with, but I wonder whether you could just tell us a little bit about life at home in what sounds like an extraordinary household that nurtured many musicians, and a tradition you've carried on with your own children, I know, who now play with you.
Yes, yes, Robert. Thank you very much. Delighted to be here. And as Robert mentioned, the back's not too good at the minute. I gave it a bit of a twist a few days ago. Someone said one time, if you, the man who could find, or the woman who could find a cure for a bad back or a smoking chimney would make a fortune. So, but anyway, I'm fine at the moment. So if I give an extra note in a song, that will be the reason for it. But delighted to be here, and great to meet up with Robert and Helen and you all as well. I can't see you at the moment, but I'm imagining I'm seeing you. Yes, I grew up. By the way, you think this looks like the same shirt I had on in Madison Square Garden? It's a different one. I changed now and again. But yes, we grew up in a small farmhouse, and we were, I suppose, my mother and father played music, as Robert said, and neighbours came in at night and sang songs and told stories. And I suppose that was how I began to sing songs. And they were just, I never set out to sing songs about politics or peace or anything, but just songs about people. And I soon discovered that words like peace and politics was something which would determine how those people would live and how we'd all live. But anyway, and the picture behind me here is actually the front of our house where I live at the moment, just a few miles from where I grew up in a small farm. And the mountains you see in the background there, that's the Cooley Mountains, where Cuchulainn and them boys used to hang out. And it's in the Republic of Ireland, and I live in the north. So there's not very much difference between us, except a few seagulls sometimes. But there's also a little pier down there that you might be able to see. And people left from that pier in a steamer to go to Green Ore, and then to go to places like America and London and Scotland. And many never came back. But this song is about the people left behind. I followed them down to the boat. They didn't want me to come. They said, there must be no crying. I'll belong enough alone, I said. And I watched my two strong sons. And they were children again, with tears in their eyes. And they were tears of leaving and loving. And they're tears of dreaming. When you're out walking and there's no one near you, but a voice keeps calling and you hear your name. It's not the leaves or the whispering breezes, it's me that's calling you back again. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? As you roam through lonely London town, when evening's falling, you'll hear me calling. Come on home, the county down. Do you remember fiddlers playing songs and stories a whole night long? It's little band that you thought of leaving. It seems so strange now that you are gone. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? As you roam through lonely London town, and evening's falling, you'll hear me calling. Come on home to the county down. The fish are dancing on Clanry River. The teams are sporting in old Glenvale. My heart no longer can lead the cheering. When you're not playing, it's a different game. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? As you roam through lonely London town. When evening's falling, you'll hear me calling. Come on home, the county down. I'm always dreaming that things are changing and that they're building a factory tall, and the young ones needed again in Newry, but I still need you the most of all. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? As you roam through lonely London town, when evening's falling, you'll hear me calling. Come on home, county down. Come on home, county down.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, it was lovely, absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. We have to move because we're short of time. We have to move quite quickly into the conflict, really, in the north of Ireland. And I first met you when we were working together in Newry on a wonderful project with a wonderful group of people called Blood Red Lines. And one of the things that struck me, I think one of the people that was joined us on that project was Lee Lavis, who's I know he's said he's going to watch him tonight, and he just kind of pointed out to me the scale of the conflict around Newry and the beautiful countryside around Newry, and just I was kind of fairly gobsmacked at the scale of it. I suppose we were brought up with the images of the streets of Belfast and Derry as being defining images of the conflict. But there was a monumental war going on in the countryside, and in 1973, all that kind of came to your door, isn't it? I mean, I'm just kind of sort of saying that really that the kind of war came to you effectively, Tommy, would you say? And I just wonder whether you'd sort of talk us through one of your sort of most iconic songs and introduce that for us.
Yes, well, you're right. You know, the trouble is it's a very bitter legacy, and everyone has suffered from it. Well, as I say, I grew up in that small farmhouse, and people would come in, and the music attracted people, and people would come in from both sides of the divide. And remember, one of the earliest memories I have was watching all these toes tapping to the same rhythm, regardless of their political persuasion or religious affiliation. And I realized that somehow music was something that could connect up the secret and the sacred things inside us, sometimes without our knowing, and certainly without our full understanding. And whenever, two of the people who came to our house, I remember one particular summer's evening, we were standing around at the crossroads, Ryan Crossroads, where we lived, and we could hear explosions going off 6 miles away in Newry. We could hear the Lambeg drums being played just a few fields away at the local Orange Hall. And remember someone said, no matter how close the troubles get to us here, it won't change us. Because we're friends, we know each other, we work together in the fields. But 1 year from that day, many things had changed. And it took me almost 10 years to write a song about it. Because I felt that what happened almost summed up war anywhere. Where ordinary people can get divided up into little groups. Be we different religions or colours or nations. And told constantly we're different human beings. My song for you this evening, it's not to make you sad, nor for adding to the sorrows of this troubled northern land. But lately I've been thinking, and it just won't leave my mind, to tell you of two friends one time who are both good friends of mine. Allan Bell from Benach, he lived just across the fields. Great man for the music and the dancing and the reels. O'Malley came from South Armagh to court young Alice Fair, and we'd often meet on the Ryan Road, and the laughter filled the air. There were roses, roses, there were roses, and the tears of the people ran together. Oh, Allan, he was Protestant and Sean was Catholic born. It never made a difference, for the friendship, it was strong. And sometimes in the evening, when we heard the sound of drums, we said it won't divide us, we will always be the one. For the ground our fathers ploughed in, the soil it is the same, and the places where we say our prayers have just got different names. We talked about the friends who died, and we hoped there'd be no more. So little then we realized the tragedy in store. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. It was on a Sunday morning when the awful news came round. Another killing has been done just outside Newry town. We knew that Allan danced up there, we knew he liked the band. But when we heard that he was dead, we just could not understand. We gathered at the graveside on that cold and rainy day, and the minister, he closed his eyes and he prayed for no revenge. And all the ones who knew him from along the Ryan Road
We bowed our heads and we said a prayer for the resting of his soul. There were roses, roses, roses. The tears of the people ran together. While fear filled the countryside, there was fear in every home, and the car of death came prowling round the lonely Ryan Road. A Catholic would be killed tonight to even up the score. Christ, it's young O'Malley that they're taking from the door. Allan was my friend, he cried, he begged them with his fear. But centuries of hatred, with ears that cannot hear. An eye for an eye was all that filled their mind, and another eye for another eye, till everyone is blind. There were roses, roses, there were roses, tears of the people ran together. So I sang for you this evening. It's not to make you sad, or for adding to the sorrows of this troubled northern land. But lately I've been thinking, it just won't leave my mind, to tell you of two friends one time who were both good friends of mine. I don't know where the moral is, or where the song should end, but I wonder just how many wars are fought between good friends, and those who give the orders are not the ones to die. It's Bell and O'Malley and the likes of you and I. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. There were roses, roses, there were roses.
Oh, bravo. What a beautiful song, Tommy. There Were Roses there. That's hard to, yeah. What else can you say, really? I'm going to play a little clip from the TV, which takes your story forward to the peace process, really, and also just to give you a little break. So, and then maybe afterwards you could just tell us a little bit about the journey to which took you to the little film that I'm going to show now. So hopefully I can. But that was absolutely beautiful, Tommy. Thank you very much. Really beautiful. Okay, now I've got to go to share screen and press this, and hopefully, right, that's it there. Tommy, whether you'd tell us a little bit about that moment, really, that moment in history, and how your art and your talent and your passion came together in that moment, and a little bit about the characters that we saw there as well.
Yes, brings back memories for sure. Well, I remember the talks, which later, which would lead up to the Good Friday Agreement. There were falterings. Sometimes it'd be people say they're not. It's not going to work and all that. And I felt that all the news bulletins and television, they had been interviewing the people before they went into the talks, but after they were in the talks, they were interviewing everybody who disagreed with the talks. At least that's how it seemed to me, because the media, TV in particular, can't deal with peace very well. If you put a calm sea and a blue sky on a screen and hold that shot for 5 seconds or so, people will be getting their remote searching for storms, because television is about moving pictures. If you look at any of the big blockbusters, it's cars turning over, things going on fire. And so quiet, silent, still pictures don't work on television. So very often when the man says in the news, here's the news, it's not really the news. It's pieces picked out that will attract the eye of the viewer and possibly the purse of the advertiser. And the thing is, we decided that we would try to create a storm for the 6 o'clock news. And I was aware that very often on TV, whenever you see two rival politicians being interviewed, if they don't fight with each other, they won't be invited back together, because television needs storms. So what we tried to do was we tried to create a public event where people could agree without losing face. And the chorus of a song is how you can do that. I think that's the value of a song. A chorus, I suppose, it's a little bit like an amen, where people can agree without losing any face. And I remember I wrote that song the night before, and I knew we'd maybe get 10 seconds on the 6 o'clock news, but I knew everything was going to have to be said in 10 seconds. And it was really what the people, the normal people around home were saying. They wanted the talks to continue, so carry on until peace will come again. So that is the chorus of the song. And I remember when we started to sing, they come out from the place they were talking, where the talks were, and I said, sing with me, carry on. And the men were a bit reluctant to sing, carry on, carry on, carry on. And then the Women's Coalition came out, and they started singing. They sang much louder, carry on, carry on. And it's amazing, they all started to sing. And you probably saw Gusty Spencer, who was the leader of the UVF. He was one of the first people to start singing. And I know there were people that you will recognise from Sinn Féin and the various parties, but they were all necessary. They were all necessary to be there, because they're all part of us. And it was, I thought it was very important that they sang, and we left that place, the children especially, the people playing there, Robbie Dinsmore was a school teacher, and he got the kids from his village, and as all teachers with kids from the other religion all coming together. The Lambeg drums, very, I suppose, symbolic instrument. People like Roy Arbuckle from Derry, different drums, wonderful people came. And the cello player is a man called Vedran Smilovic, who came to live with us. He played the cello in Sarajevo during the siege. His theatre was destroyed in a bomb. And one day, in the middle of remember the terrible times of Sarajevo, the snipers, bombs, and he went out in the middle of the street and started to play the cello. And someone said, Mr. Smilovic, you're not crazy for playing your cello while they shell Sarajevo. And Smilovich looked at the cameraman and he said, "You ask me if I'm crazy for playing my cello while they bomb Sarajevo. Why don't you ask them? Are they not crazy for shelling Sarajevo while Smilovich plays the cello?" So there's a lot of things came together on that occasion, and I think a song can give you a lift. Sometimes you don't realise it, and singing it gives you a lift as well. I think it's the singer and the listener, they're all part of it, and the person singing the chorus is even more part of it.
Extraordinary, an extraordinary moment in history, really, and to do with the power of art, really. Which, and you were going to sort of bring us into a kind of more recent song, the music of healing, and I wonder whether you could give us that, Tommy, and introduce.
Oh, yes.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
It is a song that we saw Pete earlier on, and excuse me, my throat's a bit. It must be my back. It's a fight in my throat. I'll say that anyway. Pete, actually, that song "There Were Roses" went to America with Mick Moloney and various people, wonderful Kathy Mattea and people like that. We sang it in America, and I was then invited along to follow the song and around and sing it. And Pete heard about the song and he liked it, and he said he would like to meet me. And of course, I was looking forward to meet Pete for years and years. I had a lot of admiration for Pete all down the years. But anyway, I remember we were sitting having breakfast, stayed for a week with him, and in the middle of breakfast he said, "Does anybody know a song about toast?" I says, "Now that you mention it, I don't." "Well, let's write one then." So I started to write songs about everything and anything. But in the middle of it anyway, I said, we were talking about how sometimes music can heal conflicts, not only between two people or two tribes, but between the conflicts in one's own head. And I said to Pete, somebody should write a song about that, Pete. Pete says, "You write it." So some months later I was back and we went up to the Hudson and he lived in just up Bear Mountain, and a little cabin in the trees that himself and Toshi, his wife, built. And I sang him the song, and he stood up all 6'3" of himself, and he looked out through the window at the Hudson below, and he says, "It's good, but I could hear a but coming. It's good, but it's too short. It needs another verse." I says, "You write it," which he did. And we recorded this song together. And the song led on to lots of things, including a seminar which we hold each year in Belfast. Rather in Rostrevor. We did it in Belfast a few times too. Don't beat the drum to frighten the children. Don't sing the songs about winning and losing. Sit down beside me, the green fields are bleeding. Sing me the music of healing. Sing me a song of a lover returning. The darker the night, the nearer the morning. Bring me the news of a new day that's dawning. Sing me the music of healing. The heart's a wonder, stronger than the guns of thunder. Even when we're torn asunder, love will come again. Sometimes the truth's like a hair in the cornfield. You know that it's there, but you can't put your arms round it. All we can hope is to follow its footprints. Sing me the music of healing. And who would have thought
I could feel so contented to learn I was wrong. After all of my rambles, I've learned to be hard, and I've learned how to tremble. Sing me the music of healing. The heart so wonder, stronger than the guns of thunder. Even when we're torn asunder, love will come again. Somehow the cycle of vengeance keeps turning, till each other's sorrows and songs we start learning. Peace is the price for those who are daring. Sing me the music of healing. A time is your friend, it cures all your sorrows. But how can I wait for another tomorrow, when one step today and 1,000 will follow? Sing me the music of healing. The heart so wonder, stronger than the guns of thunder. Even when we're torn asunder, love will come again.
Fantastic, beautiful song, Tom. Beautiful. How are you seeing things now? How are you seeing one of your songs? That there was a line. I think the peace has come. Now there's work to be done. What do you think's important to help preserve this precious peace? And what can artists do? And what do you see your role in this moment in history, I guess?
Well, I think for a start, it's a peace process, and it's not necessarily an end, and it has to be a continuing thing. And I remember, actually, we went over to Westminster one time to play over there, and Roy Arbuckle came with me with the Lambeg drum, and a reporter asked Roy, says, what do you think a Lambeg drum, playing a Lambeg drum, how can you create peace with a Lambeg drum? And Roy says, it is what I have. And I never forgot that, because we all have things, be it a smile in the morning. We have so many things that we don't bother dipping into, because sometimes we give up hope before we start. Sometimes we look to the big questions, we look for big answers, but usually there's not big answers. There's many, many small ones, and I think that's the great challenge and the wonderful opportunity it is for us all living in these times when helping hands are needed. Small hands, because it's small hands that spoke the wheels of the world, while maybe the great voices of the world are elsewhere. And so I think in regard to the situation here, most of the politicians, I know them, and they're all good people. They're all dealing with difficult issues with their own side, trying to find ways forward. And actually, I think we forget sometimes that the other side is much closer to us than we think. I was a little while back, before the COVID, I got an invitation to play down in the local Orange Hall. And coming from a Catholic background, I was a little bit, wasn't too sure what to do. But I knew I'd know all those people. Not them personally, because, you know, as the song says, the old ones were all dead and gone, the young ones turning grey. But I knew them all on their fathers, or by their mother's smile. And I'd worked in Thresher, when everybody came together to work together. We we couldn't make war when hay had to be made, and we all needed each other to do that. And I think that's fairly symbolic in a way. But it went on, and it was a wonderful night we had. And in fact, I wrote a song about it. If I have time to give you a little bit of it, I don't know if there's not time, I can sing it again some other time.
No, go for it, Tommy. That would be lovely.
Well, I'll give a bit of it anyway if I
Yeah.
can think of it. I remember going down to the hall. Oh, as I went out one evening, it being like a dream, down below the valley and across the whispering stream, listening out for voices that sang and laughed and cried. Friends I haven't seen for a long time, and that would be the hollow beside that field of corn. Stuck the two and shook it till the thresher came along. Needing one another helps to make you kind. Friends I haven't seen for a long time. Young Joe, he won't be coming. He lived there on the right. Killed for being a policeman one cold November night. Nor indeed will Jimmy Green on the other side. Friends I haven't seen for a long time. A long time, so long. And I hope it's not so long till the next time. Friends I haven't seen for a long time. I'm looking at the neighbours, but as the song might say, the old ones are all dead and gone, the young ones turning grey. But I knew them on their father or by their mother's smile. Friends I haven't seen for a long time. Well done to Willie Mitchell. He opened up the hall, sent out invitations to the neighbours, one and all. And in the final chorus, a tear came to my eye. Friends I haven't seen for a long time. A long time, so long. And I hope it's not too long till the next time. Friends I haven't seen for a long time.
Oh, it's beautiful, Tommy. There's a comment here in the chat that from Breezy Kelly, and she says, "Our world's a better place for having Tommy Sands in it." And I have to say, I heartily agree with that sentiment. Thank you. That was beautiful. I'm going to ask you to, if you could just do one song, and I'm sure Helen, who presented this, is probably in tears already, but just to push her over the edge. She's a Belfast girl, and I promised that I'd ask, would you sing Laganside for her? And such a beautiful
Okay, I will
song.
indeed, Helen. I will indeed.
Okay, but I don't know, Helen. Is there any more questions before Tommy sings that song that have come in that you'd
I'm
like?
trying not to. Well, okay, I'll keep kill my eyes down, but I think what I'd like to do is there's a few lovely comments that I'd like to share, and it's also me just kind of flagging up. If you have a burning question, now's your time. I did notice a couple of hands going up. Ken McGrath, you were maybe wanting to ask a question, but if you were able to just find the Q&A button and type it in, that would be really great. But I'll just share a couple of comments from Stephen Wright. What a wonderful story about the power of music. That was related to the Good Friday Agreement. Lauren, thanks so much for all you've done and continue to do, bringing people together to live in peace, for being a true citizen of the globe, and for inspiring me. Much love to you. Shalom, salam, peace to one and all. And a question from Breach Cullen. Why do you think music has such a powerful impact on people all over the world? We could see the politicians' faces change when they watched the children singing. That's related to the Good Friday film that we watched. Why do you think? Have you got thoughts on that, Tommy? Why do you think music has such a powerful impact?
Well, I think we all learned to sing before we could talk. I suppose you're dipping into a different well when you're singing and when you're talking, I think. Because I think maybe the first song ever sung, at least, there's various, lots of histories and speculation, of course, learned and otherwise, but first song probably ever sung was to beyond this world, beyond the norm, to a creator, to a place where words wouldn't reach. I think words on their own can reach to the ends of the earth, but words on the wings of a song can soar higher and seep deeper and reach further inside to express hurt or pain or truth. And I think we all can sing. We don't all have to be Pavarotti or whatever. We don't have to be wonderful walkers to be able to get from one end of the room to the other, which I'm just a foot to at the minute. So, but I think we all can sing and we all can take part in it, which is just as important. And one of the I think, I was at an interesting event. A man called John Paul Lederach, a very interesting man. He teaches international relations in Notre Dame, it's called in Indiana. And he brought musicians together and poets and writers and 2 neuroscientists. And I said, what are the neuroscientists for? They will measure the physiological changes that take place in the brain when an act of art is performed in a certain context. And, we all know intuitively that music and art changes things. But this was hard science at work, which is very interesting. And I think, too, that very often we regard the arts as a luxury. And the arts is not a luxury. It's essential. Because I think sometimes with the rational things, you come up against a certain wall that you can't get past. Seamus Heaney put it beautifully, when it becomes rational to despair, walk on air against your better judgment. And I think, I often think that an artist's job is to step back a little bit and get a different perspective on what is a perceived normality or reality. I remember watching and hearing about a hen trying to pick through a wire fence, netting wire, that sort of wire, to get a bit of corn on the other side of the fence. And the poor thing was picking and picking, couldn't reach it, and the hair, or the feathers flying in all directions. But then he was very hot and bothered, or she was, whatever she was, or he was, and took a couple of steps back and noticed that there was an open gateway just 3 yards away. And I think you have to move back, take a different perspective, and I think that's what a poet is for. I think the ancient bard wore a coat of many colours, the colour of all the tribes, but under the thumb of none, to bring good news of the other side to each side. And I think in many ways it's a great privilege to be in a position where you can do that, be a newspaper reporter, be an artist, an actor, a farmer. It doesn't matter what you are, you can still do that.
Bravo. Well said. Hear, hear. So I just, is there any more questions, Helen, or should we ask?
You've got
I'm
there's
very
one more.
conscious. I'm very conscious of Tommy's back.
You're conscious of time, so and you're conscious of your your back being so sore, Tommy. So thank you so much. And there's just a quick invitation to the States. Tommy, Stan and Claudia Green here in America. You bless our American shores sometime soon.
Ah, lovely to hear from you, and I'd love to be back there soon.
So once we're all allowed to travel, that's us.
Yeah, that's right.
So
things are
I
changing.
think we're going to just have our final song from you now, Tommy, which will just help me dissolve into a puddle of homesickness.
You'll have to sing the chorus with me, Helen.
Oh well, not. Oh no, other people have come to this event. No, I'll keep that for a quiet night.
Maybe Lauren over there in the negative might join in the chorus, or Breezy and Donegal. Or I can't see all the people that's here at all, but maybe drop me a line. What's my email? Yeah, sans.songs@gmail.com. That's it. Remember that. I wrote this song actually for the occasion of the opening of the Waterfront Hall in Belfast, where we had the Belfast Harp Orchestra and the Field Marshal Montgomery Pipe Band and lots of beautiful musicians. The chorus is this, and I want to hear you singing. Maybe I can't hear you, but as long as your lips move. When that's too low. Let me see. Try it here. When we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the lake inside, I thought she was a vision that stopped me with her smile. Down by the river we walked along in style. She says, you're welcome back again, won't you stay a while? Down by the wagon side. And when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the wagon side. I said, who owns that music that's so full of joy and pain, that the pipers and the harpers and the lambeg drummers play? She said, who owns the teardrops falling in the rain, down by the wagon side? Got down there eventually. Go up a bit. You ready? When we dance together. When we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the wagon side. And do you not remember we once walked side by side on the bells of Belfast City, sang harmony and pride. The past it has been taken, but the future is yours and mine. Down by the wagon side. And when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. sing it with me. I'm hardly fit to sing on this stage, so I'll tell you what the chorus is. Fra is here beside me. Fra's my nephew and great singer as well, and he's doing all the technical stuff here. Would you sing it with me, Fra? Great. When we dance, when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. Thank you very much, Ewa.
Thank you so much.
Lovely.
And so thank you, Robert, for chairing so beautifully. Thank you, Tommy, for just giving us a really joyful hour and bringing us all back to what matters. Thank you so much. And I'm just closing the event and saying goodnight to all our audience.